Hi everybody, welcome to Good Taste. We have got every kind of turkey how-to tip you will ever need right here today. I'm with the expert, Chef Brian West, former CIA instructor, a CIA grad, and chef, of course, at the very popular Smoke. Smoke a lot of turkeys around here, and we're going to show everyone how we can cook them or smoke them at home, right?
Absolutely, yeah. It's one of the biggest questions I get all the time. My phone blows up around the Thanksgiving time, so I want to make sure that people understand there's just a few simple things you can do to make your turkey that much more successful and get that gold standard that we always like to shoot for. One of the biggest things I tell people when they're looking at these birds is to pull this thermometer out, okay? So this is one of the biggest reason why turkeys overcook. A perfectly cooked turkey is 165 degrees. This thing pops out at 180 degrees, and then when the turkey rests, it probably runs all the way up to 200 degrees, which is, you know, way over. So it's completely dried out at that point. Get rid of this thermometer. We're going to use our own thermometer to gauge when we need to pull it out. So that's really important.
Okay.
The other thing that I'm going to want to do is pull off whatever little trussing they did here, and I'm going to want to stretch these legs out just a bit.
Why?
It's going to allow better heat transfer, and it's also going to allow our brine to work better whenever we start to brine it, which we'll get into that in just a minute.
Give it a little workout.
A little bit of a workout. We've also got the flappers too here. We're going to leave those intact for the time being. Also inside the cavity, there sometimes will be the neck, the giblets and things like that, and we can make gravy out of that, but that definitely needs to be removed at this time.
So you say when in doubt, brine it out, right?
Absolutely. So we need to basically put this in a solution of brine for at least 1 to 3 days. And this is going to season the bird all the way through. It's going to leave deposits of whatever you put in here behind. It's also going to add a lot of moisture as well.
Okay.
So the way a brine works is it's got salt, it's got sugar in there, of course it's got water, and then of course whatever herbs and spices that you want to put in there. And it's going to travel through this bird over time just like a ghost. It's going to move right through it. It's not going to think anything of it, and it will happen probably in about 3 days, and then again it will season it all the way through.
Okay, so we have a brine recipe and instructions on how much brine and for how long based on your bird's size online. So we're going to brine.
Absolutely. So it's ready to go. We've thawed out the bird. The bird has to be thawed before this process can happen. And we're going to put it legs in the air, and we're going to allow that cavity to completely fill. And at this point, it's asleep. It's going to stay like this for 3 days.
Stick it in a refrigerator somewhere.
Stick it in a refrigerator, or you can also stick it with a little ice in a cooler, and it should be safe as well.
Okay, so we've got the bird out of the brine, and you say the next important step is to dry it.
Dry it and prep it for the oven. So that's going to be pretty crucial. So I'm going to go ahead and set this thing up a little bit so that I can close up any of the areas where it might leak out some of the fats and things like that that I want to have happening inside. So I'm going to basically flip the bird over. I'm going to just bring these back around all the way like that.
Okay.
You can clip these off if you want to, but I like to roast them off and eat them as a little snack for later when I'm carving the bird.
So just pull them backwards and they
just
kind
like
of
that.
lock in place.
And then when you set it back around, it looks like it's laying and basking in the sun. Looks great. So it's nice and comfortable. So, and some of this is that brine that's coming out, which is no big deal. Okay, so I've got that set up. The next thing I want to do is open up the cavity, and I'm going to put in some citrus. I like to put a little lemon, some orange. It also helps keep the shape of the bird going a little bit. Some fresh herbs. All this stuff will get activated at about 103 or 104 degrees, and it'll start to vaporize, and it will add flavor to your bird on top from the inside out. So I've got garlic. I like to add a little bit of cinnamon stick. It just seems to work for me. It gives a nice little cinnamon flavor in the end. Okay, to truss, I'm going to come around the back here, just behind those wings. And I'm going to draw a line right under here. Okay. I'm going to cross over. And the key to trussing is you want to get the breasts nice and pushed together as much as possible.
So keep the tension out of the string tight.
Exactly, exactly. And you're just going to want to come across and around.
You make it look easy, Brian.
It is easy. A lot of people actually struggle. You can Google this online. There's about 17 or 20 different ways to do this. It's whatever works best for you. At the end of the day, all you want to do is get these knees pushing up against the sides of the breasts.
Okay.
So you keep this up in the air. We've got it all prepped up, ready to go. This can actually wait like this if you want to and use it for the next day. It's all set to go. It's not going to lose that brine integrity over time, so it's already seasoned all the way through. But I really am a huge believer in completely drying this bird. So you're going to sacrifice some of your clean dish towels for this, and you'll have to wash them right afterwards because you can't wipe anything down afterwards. But again, anywhere heat's going to touch, you want to be as dry as possible. And I cannot stress this enough how important this is. Next step, we're ready to season. So once you season, that's when your clock starts ticking. You need to get it into your smoker or your oven, for that matter, because once you start to season, salt it brings moisture to the surface. You're going to ruin the integrity of your skin. So that's very important. So I'm going to just give it a pre-seasoning here.
A pre-seasoning?
Pre-seasoning, and I'll show you what I mean by that in just a second. I'm going to get a little salt that I'm going to work in here. And then I'm going to take some butter. And we use quite a bit of butter when we work with birds. I'm going to use my hands to warm the butter. And I'm going to just work the butter all over the bird.
And again, this ensures more of a crispy crust?
Correct. And remember, butter is oil, and oil and water don't work together very well.
Right.
So this is going to keep more moisture beneath the surface, in a sense, of that butter layer. And the more you get on there, the better you're going to want to do. So that's nice and buttery, we would agree.
Yeah, I think you got it covered.
I think I do. And then we're going to hit it again with some salt. So I actually worked that salt into that butter. And you want to be really aggressive. Okay? You want that skin to be nice and crunchy. Unlike a brisket or anything else, since we brine this, there is salt inside the breast all the way down to the bone because of that brining deal. So you're not needing to season the surface to get all the way into it, but you do want to butter up and season that crust. And then this is just a little bit of our Sergeant Pepper rub that we do. You could use just plain old coarse black pepper, but I like to put it on there.
Where on the bird do you put the thermometer to get the best reading?
Perfect. So again, remember we talked about the joints. There's a little, what I like to call the cheek. You're going to go right in here, just below the joint. And this is the last place it's going to cook. The breast will actually cook a little bit further than that one. Once that reads about 150, okay, not 165, 150. Some even like to go as low as 148, which I do. That's when you're going to want to pull it out and allow it to rest. Okay. And I let it sit out for as long as 45 minutes to an hour. And believe me, it's going to be piping hot in the center even after an hour.
All right. So we've got it all rested now.
Right, exactly. So I want to cut those strings off. So I'm going to use the scimitar here to get that off. There's a keel here that runs right here on the bird.
Right between those breasts?
Right. So right between the breasts, there's going to be a place where the keel is. And we're going to want to come straight down. We're also going to want to release the leg over here, which is just straight through the skin. No big deal. Another neat little trick is you can see where I've stabbed the bird all the way through. When I know I've hit the cutting board, I've captured this wing. And I'm just going to have to go straight down.
That's when you want a really good, strong, sharp knife.
Exactly. That's crucial. Okay, so I've got that all the way down, and I've slipped right through where the joint is on the wing. And you're going to notice just a little bit of a pink hinge in here, and that is mainly just from the smoking process, but I've got a full breast right there.
Nice.
That's crucial. Okay? I'm going to take the other one off. Again, on the other side of the keel, trying not to mess up my skin as much as possible.
Just the same process?
Same process.
All the way down.
And if you leave some meat behind, that's perfectly fine. Don't worry about it. There's plenty of what we call the pool. This we're trying to develop now is all of our slice. And you can see it's not bleeding all, or not bleeding. It's not, there's not juices running all over the cutting board, and that's because we've allowed it to rest properly. So all the juice has maintained its integrity inside of the breasts.
All right. Look at that. You've done this a time or two.
Time or two. The next step is, this is where it gets a little bit tricky. So we're going to flip the bird over.
To cut the legs off?
Cut the legs and thighs off. So I'm going to, right here in this section right here, I'm going to place my knife right around the edge. And it shouldn't be very difficult to get this off. It should just kind of come right off.
follow the line of the back.
Exactly. It's almost like a little V cut. And again, this pink here is the smoke ring, okay? So you won't have this whenever you're doing it in an oven. So I've got this piece right here. I'm going to move that over here. I like to call these my primals. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing over here. And it's little to no effort on there when you're doing this.
Perfect. All right, perfect primals.
Right. So next thing we want to do is we're going to want to take these and slice them for our guests. Now, what others will have done is this, but I like to come straight down here and just cut straight through. So when you get my turkey at my house, you're getting almost a steak.
Wow. Or like planks of meat there, right?
Planks of meat, yes, very much so. So that's the white meat, and you also are going to have a very well defined where my white meat is, where my dark meat is. It's not supposed to be this big jumble of meat that's flying all over the place. You also want to have that beautiful contrast between the two on the breast there. So I'll do the one breast, and these are juicy as all get out. They're crazy.
They look amazing.
And again, I can't stress it enough, that pink line is from the smoke, so we don't want to worry about that. The next thing you want to do is get your dark meat. Right here at the knee, will start to break apart, and it should come right apart. There's no chopping through anything like that. Chicken legs, a lot of people like to eat them just like this. The problem with, turkey legs, the problem with turkey legs is that they're very gangly. There's lots of elements in there. So if you want to serve leg meat, I just recommend
slice it off.
Slice it down, and you leave quite a bit behind, unfortunately. Otherwise, you're going to be picking tendons out. So that's,
okay.
And so you can see the beautiful smoke ring, which you can't get any other way. And then when it comes to the thighs, I go in with my hand, and I pull the thigh bone out.
Really? I've been doing this all wrong all these years.
A lot of people have, and you know, it's not a bad thing. It's just that you're not yielding what you should yield for everyone. You're not getting all those points. So I've got it like this. I just took that little bone out. Again, save that for soup, save this for soup, and I'm going to roll it up. And now you've got beautiful thigh meat, which I think is the best part.
I do
personally.
too. Look at that.
And again, we can fold that out. So when I present my bird and my platter, I can separate it all together with the leg, the thigh, and the breasts.
Awesome information, spot on, gold standard as always. Chef, happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to you too.